Okay, so hello everyone, welcome back. I welcome you all to this amazing chapter of functional programming. Here we're gonna discuss lots of amazing ideas. Okay, so let me tell you that functional programming is not a different programming language. Okay, it is just a different programming style. Okay, the way we write code. Okay, so the first concept that we're gonna be learning in functional programming is lambda functions. Okay, now first of all, what do we use lambda functions for? When I'll write the code, you will understand that lambda functions are useful when I have a very small and a very crisp code and I want to write it in just one single line. Okay, for example, let's take some codes. So let me add the heading lambda functions. Okay, now let's say I ask you write a code, write a function to add or to return the sum of two numbers. Okay, very simple code. I hope after attending fundamentals of Python this is a cakewalk for you. So how you write? You'll say def, let's call it AJSum, and let's say a comma b, and you will say return a plus b. That's it. Okay, this is a simple function that you will write. Now when I call this function AJSum, okay, with 4 and 5, I will get 9. As simple as that. Okay, now suppose I want to write this same function but in one liner. Okay, because as you can see, it's a very simple function. It takes two parameters and it returns the sum of those two numbers. Okay, so what I can do is I can say AJSum equals to lambda a comma b colon a plus b, and you can put space for better readability. Okay, so in lambda functions you don't even have to write any brackets, no need to write any return statement, simply just lambda expression. Okay, lambda the parameters or the arguments and the expression to be returned, as simple as that. Okay, and you have stored this definition of lambda function in this variable AJSum, which is indirectly the name of the function. So if you now say AJSum, actually let me make it 2 so that you know that we are actually calling the lambda function. So if I say AJSum 2, okay, and if I pass 4,6, this time I'll simply get 10. Okay, this is the use case of lambda functions. Okay, now you might have heard that lambda functions are also called anonymous function. Reason being, there is a way we can write code without even defining the name of the function. For example, I can copy this entire definition of lambda function, I can put it in a bracket, and then I can put a bracket and call this with 4 and 7. Okay, and when I run this, I will get 7 plus 4, 11. So as you can see, nowhere I have defined the name of the function. I'm simply calling a function without its name, simply by writing definition and by putting the values in the parameters. Okay, so this is the basic idea of lambda functions. Now let me tell you, we use lambda functions when we have a very simple code and we have to write it in one line. To be very honest, lambda functions are not useful by its own. We actually use lambda functions in the further concepts that I'll be teaching you, which is map, filter, and reduce. These are the three concepts where lambda functions play a role, because then we can use a function just as a one-liner. And this I will also tell you in your NumPy Pandas series, which is one of the subjects or the modules that we have, a course, okay, where we make use of lambda functions to write a very simple code in the same line, okay, rather than defining a new function. Okay, so many people have doubt, does lambda function takes exactly two parameters? No, it is like any other function. Okay, so for example, you can say aj2 something, aj underscore 2 equals to lambda a, and it returns a to the power 2. So this is a simple code to return the square of a number. And if you want to call it, just pass 4 and it will return you 16. Okay, you can write a code to give you the multiplication of three numbers. Okay, so you can say aj3 equals to lambda a comma b comma c colon, you guessed it right, a into b into c, a into b into c, and you will simply say aj3 3, 4, 5. It should give 60, right? 3 into 4 into 5, 60. So this is the basic idea, and this is how we can use lambda functions. In very short, lambda, parameters, comma separated, colon, and the expression to be returned. Okay. So please play around with lambda functions before you move on to the next chapter, where we'll discuss the concept of map. Okay. Thank you.